If you clicked on this video, the likelihood that you're a fan of muscle cars is pretty high. Every guy during high school wanted some incredible muscle cars. Sit back as we drop the list of 10 muscle cars every guy wanted in high school. Number 10. Plymouth Roadrunner 1968 to 1970. When Plymouth debuted this iconic vehicle in 1968, it knew the muscle car craze was here to stay. With a startlingly cheap sticker price, $3,000 base, and a cartoon tie-in, replete with the WB character's trademark beep beep horn, it was really one of the first businesses to genuinely woo the youth vote, as it were. That sticker price was just the beginning, of course. The key word with muscle cars has always been muscle, and as the Roadrunner gained popularity, its basic shape remained mostly unchanged, while its power options expanded. Some of those upgrade packages like the 6-pack that raised the normal 383 horsepower to 390 or a 426 Hemi could almost quadruple the price. With the most advanced option settings, you might reach a peak speed of almost 140 miles per hour and complete a quarter mile in 13.5 seconds. Sales exceeded 80,000 units in 1969 alone. The hardtop model, which does not have a center pillar, is still a collective favorite. However, 40 years later, several of the well-prepared and carefully guarded Roadrunners that are now kept under lock and key were driven precisely as planned, into the ground. The 1969 ragtop variant, of which only around 2,200 were ever made, is now considered the gold standard for collectors. Number 9. 1971 Plymouth Superbird 440. Despite being based on the Roadrunner, this hardtop frequently outperforms other Plymouth options on best of list. Its unique design was created to satisfy the specific needs of that muscle car haven, NASCAR. At the time, the pinnacle of muscle car power, and something that every driver, whether in their dreams or ambitions, understood represented the pinnacles of engineering and driving prowess. It had a Magnum 440 cubic V8 engine with 375 horsepower as standard, the 425 horsepower Hemi V8, which is still the more desirable variant, or a 6-pack were the two upgrade options available when the Superbird was first delivered. A generation was inspired by the Superbirds, even though many of them most likely never came close to realizing their NASCAR aspirations. It came down to aesthetics for those who preferred the strange, yet innovative, body style of the automobile over the more practical Roadrunner. However, the Superbird continues to make dreams come true. The asking price for a well-preserved Superbird 440 has actually gone up by 2/3 within the previous 10 years. In 2001, an item that could get $67,000 at auction is today more likely to cost you $107,000. Number 8. Dodge Charger RT 440. Even the most environmentally conscious novice can recognize this hardtop, which also happens to be one of the list's most eye-catching and memorable vehicles. Although the Charger gained notoriety from the Dukes of Hazzard, Steve McQueen's antagonist drove a black Charger into Hollywood history in one of the most cherished chase sequences ever seen in the 1968 muscle car classic Bullitt. The adored Charger has lately made a comeback to the globe thanks to the Fast and the Furious franchise. There's something about those lines and the power under the hood that seems to capture not just the muscle car phenomena, but also a certain kind of badass power, defiance, and danger that no other car can match. In 2001, this hardcore piece of Hollywood history would have cost $39,000, but 10 years later, because of a combination of scarcity and demand, a mint machine now costs more than $170,000. Not bad for a car that sold 37,000 units at a basic price of $3,500 in the first year of release. Dodge used the RT moniker to indicate that the car was equally suitable for drag racing and street performance, while its iconic Coke bottle style, unique front grille, and concealed headlamps all convey swagger and power. Excellent handling was made possible by the heavy-duty suspension, which made doing those acrobatics even more thrilling. However, it was the appearance that motivated drivers back then and collectors today. Number 7. Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 Z28 SS Coupe. Although there was a wide range of options available, the Z28 was the preferred Camaro model in 1967. However, the automobile was built for racing, with a 4.9-liter engine and a 4-speed manual transmission. Its front-mounted brakes made handling challenging for novice drivers but accurate for more experienced ones. Posi traction, power steering, a Muncie 4-on-the-floor gearbox, and a small block V8 with 290 horsepower were all included in the standard package, which finished a quarter-mile race in 14.8 seconds. Constructed for road racing, the Z28 is still adored for its iconic look and agility. Among the most powerful and well-known muscle cars, the 1969 ZL1 is also one of the rarest. With a peak speed of 125 miles, 201 kilometers per hour, and 500 horsepower in an aluminum V8 engine, the ZL1 could reach 60 miles per hour in around 5.3 seconds and complete a quarter mile in 13.16. The majority of the 69 cars produced ended up in drag racing, and this potent package option was never again available. For the highest rolling collectors, what would have brought you $18,000 in 2001 has now increased to $91,000. Number 6. Buick GSX. Put a monstrous engine within the body of a well-selling, mid-sized day car, the Buick Skylark. Then, as was the fashion, offer it in a well-publicized dual configuration. It came as a convertible or a sedan. And wait, this has to be the reason young high school boys love it. Although the Grand Sport made its debut in 1965, it took a few years for the vehicle to truly take off throughout the country. Although the 1967 GSX was a powerful Buick, people weren't really interested in it until it was introduced in 1970 with a 7.5-liter engine that could produce 400 horsepower. Although the Stage 1 GSX performance package said that it had a basic horsepower of 360, testers reassured the public that it could reach 400 horsepower with improvements to the camshaft, heads, and valves. This automobile, which could complete a quarter mile in 13.38 seconds, was renowned for being available in just 2 classic colors, Apollo White and Saturn Yellow. Number 5. Plymouth Barracuda. The Barracuda has a rich and lengthy history in addition to being the market leader for earnings over the last 10 years. The value of the best-kept automobiles has increased from $49,000, which was already high, to over $2 million in certain cases. It took almost 6 years for it to become popular, despite its 1964 premiere. Plymouth launched the Barracuda into the mainstream of the muscle car market in 1970 with the introduction of a 7.2-liter engine that produced 390 horsepower. A 7-liter Hemi block with 425 horsepower was included in another variant. Like its weaker siblings, it was notoriously tough to handle, regardless of how many suspension upgrades it received. This Hemi Cuda was known for burning tires with little effort and could reach 60 miles per hour in 5.6 seconds. Only a few hundred were built because of the cost and higher insurance rates. According to reports, only around a dozen convertibles had the Hemi system, and none of them had the same trim, color, or gearboxes, making each one rare in its own right. Number 4. Pontiac GTO. Although the GTO made its debut in 1964, the muscle car community didn't take much notice of it until 1965. Because of its legendary significance, the 1965 GOAT continued to be a favorite among muscle car enthusiasts even after it was outperformed in terms of speed and power. It was one of the first vehicles to contribute to the nationwide muscle car craze, going from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.1 seconds. The GOAT, which was marketed to young people because it was inexpensive and quick, fitted a 6.3-liter V8 engine to the body of a mid-sized Tempest and added the iconic split grille, which is now one of the most identifiable front-end elements of any muscle vehicle. With a potential ram air induction option that raised the top RPM at 360 horsepower, the 1967 enlarged the motor and swapped out its six-pack for a single 4-barrel carb. However, it was only included in 751 of the 82,000 vehicles that year. Number 3. Chevrolet Chevelle SS LS. Over the years of its fame, the Chevelle, one of the most talked about muscle cars, had many redesigns. The iconic Chevelle SS was first introduced to the market in 1966 as the Super Sport package for the 61 Impala. It wasn't until 1966 that the car's bold new appearance was fully displayed with the addition of the iconic forward thrusting front fenders, unique wheel covers, redline tires, and blackout grille. Only 100 of the 1966 Chevelle SS 396 were made, and they are now quite valuable. Indeed, in only the past 10 years, the top end of resale has increased from $28,000 to $369,000. Number 2. Shelby GT 500 KR, King of the Road, as Shelby is known, is what the KR stands for. What cost you $64,000 in 2001 is now worth $100,000, and for some special orders, it can reach $5.5 million. The only non-American muscle vehicle worth discussing among collectors was the original GT 500 KR, which boasted a V8 engine with 360 horsepower. Throughout the 4 years of its significant selling, its appeal and rarity stayed consistent, and it continued to be on these lists and be spoken about among enthusiasts ever since. Number 1. Oldsmobile 442. Up until 1968, when the 442 made its debut as a separate vehicle, the 442 configuration, which stands for a 4-barrel carb, 4-speed gearbox, and twin exhaust, was an optional package for the Cutlass. The most popular muscle option was the L69, which was only available in 1971. It had a hotter cam and produced 360 horsepower thanks to its tri-power setup of 3 double BBL carbs. The upgraded springs were known to help with handling, and the vehicle reached a quarter mile in 14.8 seconds. The 1970s W30 hardtop, which had a 365 horsepower engine and a 6-pack tri-power motor with an air induction system fed through from the front bumper, is no longer available. Only 54 W30s were released from the factory, but 97 more were fitted by dealers. For the majority of us, who have $85,000 to spare, the well-liked L69 is the best option. Let's have your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for staying through till the end. Be a legend. Hit the subscribe button and don't forget to watch our previous videos.